In a world teetering on extinction, two alien beings from Chloris arrive on Earth, begging for help. Dr. Ethan Tucker and Dr. Liam Hendricks face a moral crisis as they hold the key to saving an entire civilization. As survival demands a choice, will humanity sacrifice its ethics for the sake of hope? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. In the silvery embrace of twilight, a sleek, iridescent spacecraft glided silently above the sprawling metropolis of a near-future Earth. Beneath its majestic flight, vibrant skyscrapers towered with glowing neon signs and flickering holoscreens, their glass facades reflecting shimmering colors against a blackened sky that seemed endless. An eerie quiet engulfed the city as night descended like a thick velvet curtain, wrapping the urban landscape in shadows. Inside the spacecraft, Vala and Veron, the last hope of their kind, exchanged determined glances. Vala, with her delicate features framed by soft, cascading tufts of silvery blue hair, was a vision of ethereal beauty, her large, luminescent emerald eyes sparkling with resolve but tinged with despair. Veron, taller and more muscular with skin that shimmered like polished jade under muted lights, bore the weight of their mission with a stoic expression, his brow furrowed in concentration. The air inside the ship was thick with palpable tension, a reminder of the perils that lay on Earth. "Do you think they will help us, Veron?" Vala's voice trembled, each word laden with a mixture of hope and anguish. Her heart raced as they approached the planet that could mark either salvation or doom for her species. "We have no other choice. We must convince them," Veron replied, his voice steady yet layered with an urgency no mortal could fully comprehend. As he activated the cloaking device, a familiar hum resonated through their ship, a sound that brought uncertainty but also a flicker of familiarity in the desperation of their journey. As their ship descended, the vibrant outline of a sprawling cityscape loomed below. Vala pondered the fate of the Verdantes, her mind flooding with memories of their once thriving civilization, which had flourished in the lush, verdant landscapes of Chloris. The intoxicating scent of iridescent blossoms and the melodies of their harmonious ecosystems were now haunting echoes of a past rapidly fading away, swallowed by a relentless and insidious enemy, the Krillian virus. This malicious pathogen, a scourge that transformed their vibrant society into a ghostly semblance of its former self, had wreaked havoc on their population, leaving only shadows where families once thrived. The ship shuddered gently upon landing, finally touching down in an isolated clearing within a dense urban park, a tangible piece of greenery amidst humanity's concrete jungle. Adaptive trees, genetically engineered to survive pollution, whispered in the wind, concealing their hidden visitation. The cloak faded, and Vala and Veron emerged from their craft, surrounded by an otherworldly glow emanating from their bodies, which was a stark contrast to the surrounding dim light. Instinctively, Vala reached for Veron's hand, drawing strength from their bond as they surveyed their new environment. The distant roar of vehicles and the soft murmur of city life echoed in the background, filled with humanity oblivious to the struggle that lay hidden in the shadows of their world. They exchanged glances that spoke volumes, torn between hope and apprehension, the weight of their species' survival upon their shoulders. They knew time was of the essence. Every ticking second pulled them closer to the potential extinction of the Verdantes. With wariness woven into their movements, Vala and Veron ventured cautiously into the heart of the city, their otherworldly aura both mesmerizing and alarming. In the heart of a bustling metropolis, deep within the confines of a contemporary laboratory, Dr. Ethan Tucker and Dr. Liam Hendricks were enveloped in their world of genetic research. The laboratory buzzed with advanced equipment, the dim light of holographic screens illuminating the sparse, metallic interior. A gentle hum emanated from the diagnostic machines, and the faint smell of sterile solutions lingered in the air. Their ongoing research aimed to combat sterility triggered by environmental disasters on Earth. Resources were dwindling, and with every passing day, the urgency of their mission weighed heavier on their shoulders. They were both renowned in their fields, yet the recent decline in their research progress left them feeling frustrated and restless. As Ethan meticulously recorded data, Liam calculated variations in genetic sequences on his screen. Always the more impulsive of the two, Ethan was deep in thought, contemplating the ever-present, dark cloud hovering over their work, the ethical implications of the innovations they pursued. The sanctuary of their lab, once a hub of inspiration and hope, was now accompanied by a haze of doubt that festooned the air like an impending storm. Then, without warning, the lights flickered, a subtle tremor rippled through the room, sending shivers up their spines. Their research was abruptly interrupted by an emerald flash of blinding light, engulfing everything around them. The dim, sterile lab faded into obscurity, and when the light subsided, all familiarity vanished. They stood in an unfamiliar room, the very essence of their reality shifting palpably. Before them hovered two alien figures, Vala and Veron, vessels of exquisite beauty wrought from the aesthetics of their verdant world. Vala's skin shimmered with the iridescent hues of a lush forest, deep greens and shimmering golds reflecting the ambient light. Veron, taller and more imposing, exuded an aura of strength. His gaze was penetrating, with flecks of vibrant blue in his otherwise emerald eyes that seemed to captivate their attention. "Who are you?" Ethan gasped, his body instinctively shifting backward as his heart drummed violently against his ribcage. Behind that fear, however, lay an undeniable curiosity. "We are Vala and Veron, and we come from Chloris," Vala implored, her wide, expressive eyes conveying both urgency and desperation, as if the fate of her people was etched into every glance. "Our people are dying, and you are our last hope." Ethan's mind raced. This must be a prank, a lucid dream, or perhaps the result of a particularly stressful week. "This is impossible," Liam replied, also pushing against the tidal wave of disbelief. We don't have time to waste on doubts." Veron interrupted, his voice steady but resonating with an underlying current of emotion, almost a plea. "The virus Krillian has rendered our males infertile. Only your genetic material can save us." A silence enveloped the room, thick with tension. The weight of their request pressed heavily upon Ethan and Liam, igniting an internal struggle that felt colossal. Dr. Liam Hendricks was a man grounded in evidence and rationality. His world was one of structure, metrics, and the scientific method. In contrast, Ethan, while equally committed to their shared work, possessed an empathetic heart that yearned to alleviate suffering. For a moment, nothing seemed real. Ethan's thoughts churned like wild vortices, dragging him into the depths of ethical quandaries. "You're asking us to give you our genetic material? To create hybrid beings?" He questioned incredulously, the implications sending icy tendrils through the warmth of his rationale. "Yes," Vala pressed softly, "if you don't, we will vanish, just as our world is decaying." "You understand extinction, don't you?" Liam clenched his jaw, every fiber of his being battling against the potent mixture of disbelief and compassion that surged within him. "But, this is unprecedented. We're talking about crossing the lines of species, of ethics. You can't expect us to agree to this on a whim." His voice faltered slightly under the weight of emotional gravity. Veron's expression shifted, reflecting his understanding of human hesitation. "We do not bring this request lightly, Dr. Hendricks. We come from a place where survival is paramount. We are perhaps the last of our kind. We came because of your work, your advancements in genetic sciences. You hold the key to our continuation. The silence grew oppressive. The holographic flicker of charts and graphs in the lab faded into the background of Ethan's mind, overshadowed by visions of a sprawling, vibrant Chloris, filled with life and beauty, now teetering on the brink of nothingness. He shuddered at the thought of a world without the Verdantes, echoing the desolation plaguing their own species. Isn't this an opportunity, Liam? Ethan placed a hand on his friend's shoulder, eyes brimming with urgency. Imagine the implications. A chance to create something new, something that bridges our worlds. If we can save them, think of the legacy, the hope. Liam's internal battle intensified. It was as if his mind was spiraling in opposing directions, truth and deontology clashing vehemently. Still, that unyielding flicker of curiosity tugged at his decisions. The potential to bring life to a failing species, something he had only dreamt of in theory, hovered tantalizingly on the horizon. How do we know this will work? All it takes is one misstep, and we could pave the way for something catastrophic, he inserted, the weight of skepticism shifting his voice into a low growl. But if we don't try, we condemn a whole race to extinction. Their culture, their memories, their very essence, all of it will be lost. Ethan refuted, his brow furrowing as he took a step closer to Vala, the Verdante's desperate expression igniting a wave of empathy within him. We have the smarts and tools to explore this. Together, we can derive a solution that minimizes risk while maximizing potential. Vala offered earnestly, her voice wrapping around them like a vine, trying to elicit cooperation. The room felt charged with potential. An impending storm of decisions weighed down upon them. With breaths held and hearts racing, they stood at an uncertain threshold. The air felt thick with tension as hope and fear danced chaotically. A glance shared between Liam and Ethan ignited a flicker of deeper understanding. Both men recognized the transformation within themselves as well as the fragile fabric of possibility they held. Then what do we do? Liam finally breathed, his voice smaller yet infused with determination at last. If we're to undertake this, we must discuss the steps thoroughly, every detail, every possible angle. Ethan nodded firmly. We need to focus on creating a process ensuring safety for everyone involved. Vala took a cautious step forward. The sterile laboratory hummed with quiet apprehension, each flicker of the fluorescent lights punctuating the urgency of the moment. The walls were lined with gleaming consoles, displaying intricate diagrams of DNA strands and molecular structures that shifted benevolently, reflecting the weight of their indecision. The air was thick, laden with the acrid scent of antiseptic and an uncomfortable tension that seemed to envelop everyone present. Ethan Tucker's brow was furrowed in concentration as he paced slowly, his fingers dancing restlessly on the edge of a table cluttered with vials containing samples, their existence tethered to delicate hopes and fears. On the other side, Liam Hendricks sat hunched over a tablet, as if searching for a scientific reprieve in the endless cascade of data scrolling before him. We could hybridize, Ethan announced abruptly, halting his restless strides. His voice, imbued with an electric fervor, broke the tense silence like a bolt of lightning in a thunderstorm. If we combine our genetic material with theirs, we could potentially create a new line of verdants, preserve their essence, and help them evolve. The words hung in the air, stirring a mix of intrigue and apprehension within the room. Vala, her luminescent green skin shimmering under the sterile lights, raised her slender brow as if weighing the enormity of his proposition. But would that even work? Liam countered, skepticism lacing his voice. Just combining DNA is not enough. We might need to explore natural conception to achieve any tangible results. Vala's sharp intake of breath echoed with the weight of anticipation and dread. Natural conception? That's A bold step, she finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper, as if she feared the very idea could summon disaster. Veron, who had been silently observing, finally leaned forward, his intense gaze fixed on Ethan. What if it doesn't work? What if the resulting offspring carry the Krillian virus within them? The question hung heavy in the air, igniting an internal struggle. Ethan felt the weight of the room pressing upon his chest, the echoes of Veron's words ricocheting in his mind. We won't know if we don't try. Look, each moment we spend here, debating and hesitating, is a moment we're letting their world perish. Look into their eyes, he gestured toward Vala and Veron, who stood resolutely before them. They are not just numbers on a spreadsheet, they are lives at stake. Our logic must embrace compassion. Liam crossed his arms defiantly, wrestling with the burgeoning turmoil within him. But how can we stand by and risk our own species just to save theirs? What happens to humanity if we play God? But how can we stand by while their civilization crumbles? The Verdants are intelligent, aware, and capable of great empathy. We must try, Ethan argued passionately, fire unquenched as it flickered in his amber eyes. The word, empire, felt strange, yet oddly right, racing through his thoughts, an empire of life, threatened and decaying, ready to link with another world for survival. The strong emotion that coursed through Ethan was palpable. He could feel the warm pulse of possibility within him, mixed with fear and exhilaration. As they debated, Vala stood motionless, her verdant skin pulsating gently with her emotions. She could sense the weight of the moment and the crux upon which both their futures hinged. We understand your fears and concerns, she started, her voice a gentle caress against the razor-sharp edges of their anxiety. But in our desperation, we thought you would see the value in collaboration. We all want to find solutions, even if it means traversing uncharted territory. With Vala's words, Ethan felt a surge of resolve, visions of a potential future flooding through his mind. A future where two worlds harmoniously blended into one that thrived, where diversity kindled strength instead of weakness. This is our chance to redefine existence, he replied, the conviction clearer in his voice. If we can overcome our fears and work together, we can create something beautiful. In this tense standoff, the atmosphere crackled with emotion as they stood at a precipice, a place reflecting their most profound fears mingled with a flickering hope that shimmered like distant stars in a dark sky. They were no longer just scientists bridged by skepticism. They had unwittingly become the architects of a revolutionary merging of destinies. After moments that felt suspended in time, Liam inhaled deeply, contemplating the implications of their choices. What if we fail? What if we unleash something we cannot control? The question hung heavily as he searched for the right words, concern etched deeply into his features. Then we adapt and find a way to correct our course, Ethan responded firmly, meeting Liam's apprehensive gaze. Life itself has always been about risk and adaptation. Vala stepped forward, her emerald eyes gleaming with something akin to determination. Together, we must make this decision. Our futures are intertwined. If we don't act, our world will fade into memory. You understand the urgency, don't you? The towering screens behind them flickered ominously, projecting holographic images of the verdant populace struggling under the weight of the Krillian virus. Stricken faces and hollow eyes lined the projections, each image a testament to the desperation they felt, painting a narrative of longing and fear against the sterile white of the laboratory walls. A moment of profound silence stretched, punctuated only by the soft whir of the machinery. Ethan looked toward his colleague. What we're considering might be the only way to save an entire civilization. And perhaps, it might also reveal something vital about our own humanity, he urged, gesturing toward the screens that held the echoes of a civilization teetering on the brink of obliteration. Liam's heart raced, uncertainty mingling with an unshakable sense of responsibility. The concept of genetic hybridization spiraled through his thoughts, curious and ominous, two worlds colliding within an uncharted genetic tapestry. If we proceed, we must document everything. We must understand each step we take. Agreed, Vala replied, feeling the weight beginning to shift in her favor. This is not just a scientific endeavor, it's a sacred pact between our peoples. Feeling the resolve solidifying around them, the ensemble breathed collectively, their individual fears blending into a collective strength. They were no longer separate entities. They had woven their fates into a single thread, coursing with the urgency of their shared mission. As they stepped closer to the holographic display, Ethan felt a surge of hope wash over him, silhouetted against the backdrop of the verdant images, a mosaic of potential futures dancing before his eyes. "We're on the cusp of something monumental," he proclaimed, feeling the fire of creativity ignite deep within. This is not merely about conception, it's about connection. As the hour approached for their crucial meeting, the chamber thrummed with a low-frequency hum from the advanced technology enveloping them. The latest simulations filled the screens around them, illuminating the polished walls with vibrant hues as they explored every conceivable outcome of their drastic intervention. Each graph and projection surged like a pulse, reflecting the weight of their collective anxiety. Vala stood at the center of the room, her luminescent skin shimmering under the artificial lights. Her emerald eyes, full of desperation yet fiercely resolute, darted between Ethan and Liam. "We have to address this head-on. Our survival rests on what we choose tonight. If we don't act, our kind will vanish. But if we proceed without certainty," her voice trailed off, the implications hanging heavily in the air. Ethan, with his wild brown curls and the dark circles under his eyes hinting at sleepless nights, spoke with a sense of urgency that filled the space with electricity. "We have seen the data. A hybridization could either propagate the verdant lineage or doom us all to a new virus. This isn't just about reproduction. It's about creating resilient beings who can withstand the Krillians' advancements." Liam, with sharp features and a focused brow, remained skeptical, wrestling with the monumental ethical quandary. His voice cracked through the silence. "What if we fail? What if the hybrids are unstable or birthed with defects? Our actions could extinguish Vala's people instead of save them." Tension surged as the partners glanced at one another, the harsh fluorescent lights accentuating their furrowed brows. Memories of their individual careers flashed in their minds. Years spent chasing breakthroughs, battling skepticism, but nothing had prepared them for this crossroads. Vala's demeanor steadied, her resolve bolstered by years of survival struggles on Chloris. "Trust that we can figure this out together. We survived the Krillian because of our unity, our resilience. We adapted. You are not just helping me. You're helping the future of all verdants." The chamber felt claustrophobic, the weight of their decision pressing down. All eyes turned to the holographic projections, which now outlined the most alarming data. They revealed potential genetic mismatches, highlighting vulnerabilities that could plague future generations. Vala took a step closer to the display, her hand raised. "What do we know about Krillian? It targets the genome's weakness. If we harness our strengths and properly combine our genetic materials, we may develop immunity, both for us and the hybrids." Ethan exchanged glances with Liam, who bit his lip in thought. But experimenting on lives, however noble the intention, can erode the moral fabric of who we are. "We have the responsibility to preserve what's left of both our races," Liam replied, his voice now a hesitant whisper. "No, we have the responsibility to transform what's left into something greater," Ethan countered, the passion igniting within him. "We need to break the chains of the past to forge a new future. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It could end the cycle of despair for all of us. Vala stepped forward, confidence radiating from her posture. The Verdants have always believed that the path to survival is difficult, but achievable. We look to the stars, but also to the heart. This union between us could represent the ultimate evolution. The air crackled with the dynamics of their exchanges, optimism battling apprehension, hope colliding with fear. Each word reverberated like thunder in an impending storm, the colossal weight of their decision lingering like a sword's blade above their heads. Ethan's heart raced, torn between caution and a driving compassion for Vala's plight. What if we approached this methodically? If we can document everything, if we set conditions, if we… But before he could finish, Vala interjected, "We don't have time. We cannot wait for ideal circumstances to fall into place. I feel the Krillian eroding my people every day. If we hesitate, there may be nothing left to save." As the room buzzed with friction, a blinding flicker illuminated the doorway, cutting through the tension. The air shifted as Veron, a quietly compelling presence, entered, their translucent lavender skin shimmering ethereally like twilight mist. "Have you reached a consensus?" they asked, voice steady but searching, their gaze sweeping over the gathered trio. "We are on the brink of a decision," Ethan replied. "Your people's lives hang in the balance, and we need clarity." Standing tall, Veron locked eyes with Vala, understanding weaving an invisible thread between them. "Time is not on our side. Our species can't sustain the burden of waiting for ideal conditions, and the Krillian virus's metamorphosis mirrors our plight. We must push beyond the boundaries of traditional thought." Driven by urgency, Vala leaned in. "Together, we can craft a new legacy, a lineage strong enough to resist the darkness. Can you imagine a future where human and verdant coexist? That's worth the risk." Liam weighed their words, a cascade of emotional conflicts playing across his face. "But we don't know the repercussions. This is more than science, it's a leap into the unknown." Ethan cleared his throat, stepping closer to his colleague. "When have we ever known the outcome, Liam? We've scaled mountains of uncertainty together, and every mountain moved yielded beauty and breakthroughs. This could save them. It could save us." A heavy silence fell over them, each considering the magnitude of the possibility presented. As hearts raced and minds whirred, they entered into a reverie of potential impacts, a vision of hybrid offspring gifted with abilities from both worlds, an image that inspired alliteration of ancestral memories. Awe and fear intertwined, lingering possibilities hanging thus unspoken. "What if?" Liam murmured, a flame of idea igniting behind his guarded disposition. "What if we could monitor every developmental stage? If we were to create a controlled environment, observing the process carefully? But no matter how careful we are, errors in the unknown can lead to catastrophic failures," Vala implored, her voice tinged with desperation. "My people are fading by the minute. We can't afford to be stalled by uncertainty." The discussion continued to rage, building an invisible wall as passion flooded the room. Veron, sensing the tempest brewing, stepped forward. "Perhaps the answer lies within our vulnerabilities. Let us reveal the significance of our differences while creating a new foundation from them." Ethan felt the spark of realization, a rare consensus emerging from fractured thoughts. A holistic approach. Blend our research, embrace our uncertainties, and explore the intricate dance of our DNA. We'll craft a survival framework and find ways to monitor both the risks and the benefits. Just then, a vibration echoed as if the very foundation of their makeshift haven shifted. Alarms began blaring, pulsing red lights bathing their faces in a surreal hue. Months drifted by like drifting stardust, each day a testament to the weaving of two races, their destinies entwined in an epic tapestry of hope and necessity. The laboratory had transformed into a vibrant hub, filled with an array of instruments and technology beyond what either species had previously envisioned. Holographic projections danced in bursts of color, illustrating intricate DNA sequences and potential futures. It was a sanctuary of innovation, a war room against despair. Dr. Ethan Tucker brushed a hand across his stubbled chin, staring at the luminous screen before him. You see, this sequence, it's exquisite. This collaborative genome has properties we never imagined possible. We're pushing the boundaries of our understanding of genetics. Liam Hendricks, typically the more reserved of the two, leaned over Ethan's shoulder. His brow furrowed, revealing a rare glimmer of excitement. Not just pushing boundaries, Ethan. We're redefining them. The idea of a hybrid verdant is exhilarating, but I can't shake the anxiety about how it'll function socially. How will the world above react to this? The air in the lab crackled with intelligent discourse, punctuated by flashes of green light as Vala tested samples. Her alien beauty glowed amid the chaos, her emerald skin pulsating with energy. Liam, every great endeavor begins with uncertainty. We are entering an age where understanding must prevail over fear. Together, we will unveil a future where the verdants and humans coexist. A spark of defiance ignited in Liam's eyes, receptive to Vala's conviction. Perhaps you're right. Our species have always been fractured by misunderstanding. This is our opportunity to change that narrative. At that moment, the lab doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Veron entered, her face a mix of elation and worry. The incubation process is nearly complete. If everything proceeds as planned, we will soon be able to introduce the first hybrid to this world. Ethan turned to her, heart racing. And Vala? How is she holding up? She is resilient, but the emotional weight is heavy, Veron admitted, her tone laced with concern. She needs us all to support her in this critical time. The bond we are forming is undoubtedly strong, yet fragile in its inception. They all paused, the unyielding bond they had forged echoing within the silence of the laboratory. The corridors of time had brought them here, but uncertainty loomed, darker than before. Later that evening, an unfamiliar hush blanketed the lab as the fluorescent lights dimmed to a soft glow. Vala sat at the center of the room, her hands resting protectively over her abdomen, a myriad of emotions flickering across her face like distant stars. Do you remember the tales from Chloris? She asked, her voice delicate yet firm, inviting the others into her world. Stories of the verdant birth. The first cry echoing through the fields of luminescent flora. Each birth, a promise. Each child, a beacon. The room fell uncharacteristically still as the others absorbed her words. Liam found himself ruminating over echoes of his childhood, where stories of alien beings were just fodder for fantastical adventures. I suppose we all carry our lore. My childhood stories were of heroes and conquests, but were they ever founded on unity? Ethan stepped closer to Vala, his eyes filled with compassion. Your stories are as valid as mine. This child represents our merging, the hope that comes with collaboration. With a surge of nervous energy, Vala confessed, I fear not just for the child's acceptance, but for my people. What if the world above, our world, rejects this union? Veron, stepping to Vala's side, placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Our journey here has already challenged perceptions. Each person we encounter allows space for dialogue. We learn together. Knowledge is the bridge to understanding. With newfound resolve, Ethan added, and in two separate worlds, our child could be the catalyst for monumental change. Imagine, a new generation embracing both legacies, forging alliances rather than perpetuating past divisions. Vala met their gazes, hope igniting a spark within her chest. Then we step forward, and whatever awaits, we shall face it together. Days turned into weeks, and the lab pulsed with anticipation surrounding the impending arrival. As Vala underwent the final stages of her pregnancy, there was scarcely a moment where she wasn't surrounded by the humans who had originally been mere strangers. The shared labor of science cultivated deeper bonds, intertwined not only by necessity but by friendship born of a shared dream. One fateful evening, a rare stillness encompassed the laboratory. The soft hum of machinery seemed to quiet in reverence. Vala lay beneath the luminescent lights, the rhythmic sound of her heartbeat mingling harmoniously with the soft whirs of the lab equipment. "It's time," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath with a touch of both excitement and trepidation. With urgency, Ethan and Liam rushed to Vala's side, ensuring she had everything she needed. "You are strong, Vala. You've come this far," Ethan said, his voice steadying her spirit. Veron remained poised at the edge of the medical unit, focusing on the equipment with a tranquil gaze. "Breathe," she instructed gently, guiding Vala into the rhythm of the moment. "We are all here." As the first cries of the hybrid verdant broke through the silence like a comet shattering the night, a rush of emotions swelled within the room. A tender astonishment enveloped the group. They had breathed life into a future unknown. The child, a beautiful amalgamation of both worlds, with delicate verdant features and human nuances, glowed with a light all its own. Vala gazed down, tears cascading down her cheeks. "We did it. He is the embodiment of hope." "Indeed, he is," Liam said softly, wrapping his arms around Ethan and Vala in a gentle embrace. "Together we have created a bridge, and he shall walk upon it." As the group took in the moment, Ethan turned to the small creature with a glint in his eye. "We need to give him a name that embodies this new beginning, this merging of past and future." Veron raised an eyebrow, smiling knowingly. "Let us choose wisely, for a name carries power, a legacy of unity." With the echoes of the lab embracing them, they collectively drew breath, lips curving into expressions of joy and belonging. "Thalos," Vala said, her voice steady now. "A name from the ancient verdant language meaning lightbreaker." "Lightbreaker," Liam repeated softly, tasting the name on his tongue. "May he shine brightly as a beacon for both our races." As night descended, they stood united, gazing out at the cityscape ablaze with neon hues. Their child nestled safely within Vala's arms, a symbol of unity that whispered of potential futures. Here in this moment, burdens were shared, hearts joined in the promise of life anew. Each heartbeat carried with it a determination to forge a destiny intertwined in love, empathy, and understanding. The challenges ahead loomed like shadows in the distance, but the embers of hope flickered defiantly against the darkening sky. Amidst their candid laughter, reflections began to dance through their minds. Would the world they dreamed of embrace their child? Could barriers of fear be dissolved into streams of acceptance? As the stars shimmered above, it seemed the universe lent its ear to their resolve, reminding them that in the grand cosmos of existence, hope often lay just beyond the horizon. Together, they had crafted the first step, one that had the power to ripple through galaxies, eternally echoing the legacy of two civilizations committed to a brighter tomorrow. Indeed, in the confluence of their journey, they found an intrinsic truth. In forging new bonds, they embraced not only their differences but also the profound beauty of unity. The story of Vala, Veron, Ethan, Liam, and their son Thalos was no longer a mere tapestry of survival, but a canvas painted with the vibrant colors of love, exploring the vast expanses of existence, where the narratives of past and future converged to craft a new legend in the cosmos. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.